Soon I'll write that letter I know I'll never send, when all habitual dalliance will finally end. Then crustiness, my friend and foe, to oblivion you will go, belonging to tomorrow, belonging to tomorrow. Soon I'll make that journey out to Paradise Falls, and on all the stifling lethargy, time will now be called. Crustiness, the snake-eyed schmo, to Gehenna town you will go, belonging to tomorrow, belonging to tomorrow. Soon I'll break this cycle, this daisy chain of fail, when this wretched damn torpidity shall no more prevail. Then crustiness, bringer of woe, to the darkest darkness you will go, belonging to tomorrow, belonging to tomorrow.
Yeah, I forgot to unmute the mic again. There we go. We should be alright now. Sorry about that. I was wondering why I was not hearing myself come back through the speakers, but there we go. That'll be why. Because I had it muted. There we go. So you can all stop saying no sound now because there is sound. So, sorry about that. I totally forgot. So where was I? What was I saying? Yeah, hope everybody's had a great week. What a wonderful start to the show. Yeah, you can all stop saying no vocals because it is working now. I can see on OBS it is working. So, yeah, great start. Because actually what I was saying was perfect. It was a perfect take. It was going really well. So, yeah, I was muted. I'm not anymore. I should be fine now. You guys should be able to hear me. According to OBS, you can. So, hopefully everything is all right now. Garen says lip reading day. Yeah, hope your lip reading is good and you're able to figure out what I was talking about. But yeah, it should be working now because OBS says that we have signal. So yeah, you guys can now stop telling me no sound unless it is the case that there is no sound. So what a shame because I cued that perfectly otherwise. It's just that you couldn't hear it. You can tell I'm a professional at this, can't you? And I'm getting messages on Facebook saying, there's no sound. Yeah, I know. All right, so what was I saying? Yes, I hope you guys have had a great week. It's another glorious Sunday, and all of a sudden we are very, very close to the end of January, which means we have practically ended the first month of 2021. How crazy is that? This is going so fast. It's going to be Christmas time before you know it. So we have had lots of snow here. We had about 5 or 6 inches of snow, which for Edinburgh at this time of year, that's actually a lot of snow. And then it melted back a bit, and then it froze over, and then we had some more snow, and then that melted away, and then it froze back again. And so outside is incredibly slippery and dangerous. My wife went and bought some snow boots with spikes on the bottom so that she has no problem with grip. And the great thing is that because she's a community midwife, so she needs to be kind of able to walk to and from places. So the cool thing about that is that the spikes you can take them off. So when she's actually in somebody's house, she can just take off the spikes and put them down by the door, and then she can do whatever she has to do in that person's house, and then she can put the spikes back on and go back outside. So works really well for her, and it keeps her from slipping. I don't have any such things, and I have no sense of balance anyway. So the music that you were listening to at the start of the show was a song that I wrote back in 2015, recorded in 2016, and it's called Belonging to Tomorrow, and it's from my EP with the same title. So that was the title track, which Martin, of course, remembers. But no, this was not a remix. I literally just opened it up in Studio One 5 for the first time, because the last time I opened this session was way back in Studio One 3.5. There you go. That's how old this is. And there are a couple of things that didn't quite work, like the Flugelhorn Solo at this in the middle section sounded a bit weird, and the reason why it sounded a bit weird was because for some reason it was not reading the automation of the wah-wah pedal. I don't know why. And I had forgotten that I had never printed that. So there we go. So we have quite a lot of people here already, and Ken Moss was the first in the door. He was very early. It was nearly 40 minutes before showtime. He says, hi all. Music to Motion is here. Marcos Gomez, who I was talking to on Facebook Messenger earlier today. He's here, and Just Bob is here as well. He says, great show last week, showing on how to deal with less than great guitar tracks. Yes, that was good fun to do. And it was good fun to at least tinker a little bit with those guitar tracks. I mean, in a short space of time with tracks that have those kind of issues, not that they were bad tracks necessarily. They were in a lot of ways bad, but they weren't heinous. But given the amount of time we had, we couldn't really do a whole lot with them. But we did make them sound reasonable. And then, in the context of having the bass and the drums and the Fender Rhodes as well, kind of, just getting them to sound good with those in that context. I think we did okay. Let's see, who else is here? Don Hamer is here. Don, I have not seen you for a very long time, and I'm very glad you're here. Welcome. Good to see you back. And Marcos is asking about computer programming and programming plugins. And you sent me a Facebook voice message, which I have heard, and I will get back to you on, okay? Let's see, Garen is here. He's over in Australia. I have relatives in Australia. They're in Melbourne, actually. And he's telling us that it's 43 degrees at work today, which is way too hot. So I hope that listening to Belonging to Tomorrow to start with the show chilled you out a little bit. Let's see, going down the road, we have Thomas from the Philippines. Thomas Melkerson is here. And Martin Weeks and Kyle Jedruziak is here. Brian Garrison, my good buddy Brian, is here. Long time no see, buddy. Hope you're doing well. And yeah, there's a whole chat of me being muted. Yeah, Billy Morgan is here as well. Good evening. Can't stay. Going to church, but we'll watch later. Maybe tomorrow while home. Good. Awesome. Let's see, 29 watching, 9 likes. Hit the like button. Yes, please do hit that like button. It helps me out a lot if you do. And if you're not a subscriber to my channel, please do subscribe and hit the notification bell and select all notifications, because this year for 2021, we're not just doing live streams like we have done for most of this pandemic period. Basically, I had a whole bunch of videos planned, and I've kind of had to shelve those plans because of the pandemic, and being in lockdown meant that I had to be homeschooling, doing my day job with Personas, and, doing all the other things that I have to do to make the house tidy and all of that kind of stuff. And something had to give. So what had to give was doing my videos. But I have a backlog that I'm going to work through. And once my kids are back to school, I'm going to start cracking with those and start churning out some new tutorial videos on Studio One 5, and in particular 5.1, because I haven't done any tutorial videos in 5.1 yet. Tim Talks is here. Good to see you, buddy. So I have plans for this year. Mika, what's that you're saying? I have no idea what that is, so... yeah, please, if we're going to communicate in the chat, please make sure that you're doing it in English. Even if English is not your native language, please do it in English. I appreciate it. That way everybody knows what's being talked about. All right, so you guys heard at the top of the show there, Belonging to Tomorrow, which I've not opened, literally, since Studio One 3.5. So I wanted to play that all the way through for you guys, so that you could actually listen to the mix that I did of that and the arrangement of the song that I did, including things like how I arranged the horns and the little motifs that I came up with for it and how I developed those. Because I kind of thought that maybe tonight we could talk about how we develop our music and how we develop our productions from, kind of like the bare bones ideas into fleshing it out to what instrumentation to select, and things like, if you're going to have a horn section, how are you going to arrange them, what is the musical content going to be of those horns, what is the role that horn section is going to play. Is it going to be like a Tower of Power style horn section, or a Chicago or Earth, Wind and Fire kind of horn section, where the horn section is integral to the sound that the band have as their signature sound. And in my case, I have had a horn section in my band for very many years. I had for more than 20 years, I had like a 15 or 16 piece, I called it a soul funk band, but we were kind of more jazz funk than soul funk, but we did play some some Motown stuff in our set, and as well as, my own stuff as well. So I wanted to talk about kind of like how we do our arrangements and the role of backing vocals, the role of horn sections, and those kind of things, because to me, they play an important part to keeping the listener engaged all the way through a song. So that's kind of what this is about. It's less about the mixing and more about how we put our songs together. And what I, in this particular song, was attempting to achieve. Because you probably noticed that it changes key 3 times in the course of the song. And the reason for that is simple. Because the lyrics are talking about procrastination. That's what the song is all about. That's what belonging to tomorrow means. Because that is the literal root meaning of the word procrastination. It comes from the Latin crastinus. And crastinus means to make, to belong to tomorrow. So that's where I got the idea from. I thought, let's write a song about putting things off, which is something I do a lot. I put things off all the time, especially when they're important. Unimportant things suddenly become really important to me, and important things, I put them off. I don't want to deal with them. I don't want to tackle them, especially if it's going to be tricky, complicated, or unpleasant. I put it off. Like tax returns, things like that. I don't like doing my tax returns, but, we have to do them. And especially if you believe that tax is a good thing, because when they are handled appropriately by governments, they can serve the good of the people. So in that sense, they're a good thing. Not that I want to be political, but, things like tax returns or important phone calls, those are the kind of things I put off. And so I thought, hey, why don't I write a song about that? So that's what I decided to do. And because the whole concept of procrastination creates tension within you as a person, because that thing is always there. Even if you do put it off to tomorrow, it's always there. It's in the back of your mind. And it plays on your mind, whether you are really, really good at procrastination and you're a pro at procrastination, which means you're able to really bury it at the back of your mind. It's still there, and it creates tension. And so that's what this song is all about. It's about tension, which is why there's not really a whole lot of harmony. There's not a lot of chord changes in this song at all. It's about 3 different key centers. So the first verse is centered around G, but it's not G major, and it's not G minor. Those of you that understand such things, you will have noticed that it's more about modes, because there's no actual sense of chord changes. So that's what I wanted to do. So the first verse is based around just a G. It's kind of like a... Hang on, I don't think you can hear. Can you hear that? I don't think you can hear my piano. Why can you not hear the piano? Hang on. Oh yeah, you can hear the piano. It's just me that can't hear it. Hang on. Let's put these on. No, you can't hear it. What is that? What's going on here? Can you guys hear that? Okay, it's maybe just me. I can't hear it. I don't know why, because I could normally hear it. I can normally hear the piano. I just don't know why I can't today. Okay, forget the piano. I think I know what's going on. Hang on just a minute. Bear with me a second. I know what's going on. Hang on just a second. Bear with me. I know what's going on. Okay, can you guys still hear me? Yep, you can. Okay, I realized what was going on. And I think you should now. Yeah, you can. There we go. I realized what was going on. Let me take those off. Okay, problem solved. I realized what was going on. What was going on was the Blue Z was engaged on this song. I don't know why it was, but it was. And that's why I couldn't hear it, but you could. So I have fixed that now. So it's based around this kind of F major 7 over G. And then we go up to A flat. And then the next key center on the third verse is kind of the same, but it's on B flat. And so that's basically how the song is structured. Let's close the mixer, not that you're looking at it. So you heard, okay, you guys could hear them the whole time, I couldn't. Yeah, it was only me, and that's because of the Blue Z was engaged, and for some reason it does that. I don't know why it does it, but it does. All right, so let's go back to this song. So how did I put this song together? Well, when I wrote the song, normally when I write a song, I normally start with the music. And I had this idea for the vamp, which is basically just... And that was kind of where it started. And then kind of like the idea of the lyrics came kind of a little bit after. Once I kind of got this kind of modal thing happening, and I really liked it, then the next thing that started to develop was the melody. And then from there, I started thinking about the story of this song, the lyrics of this story, and kind of how I was going to go about telling this story of procrastination. So I came up with 3 different kind of scenarios of procrastination. And I wanted to up the tension each time. And the best way I thought I could up the tension was to do it by transposition, which is where we go from the G to the A flat, and then we go up to the B flat for the last verse. But we're using essentially the same melody every time. So, the next piece of building block, after I've got the rough kind of piano vamp for the song, I then do the lead vocal. I do a scratch lead vocal on the top. And then the next thing that happens is, usually once I've got the scratch lead vocal down, kind of where the backing vocals should go then becomes apparent to me. So in this case, we don't have a whole lot of backing vocals. It's actually just the same thing 3 times, which is rare for me. Most of the time, I have much more content for backing vocals. For me, backing vocals are a little bit of an extension of the horn section. It's just a different texture. It's a different sound, but it has the same role for me personally. I know not everybody has that, but that's normally how that plays out for me. So what we have here, if I just solo up the backing vocals, and I'll stick the lead vocals in there as well. And this is what we get. Hang on, I should probably switch over to the song so you can see. All right, so this is what you get here.
Belonging to tomorrow, belonging to tomorrow.
And that's essentially it for the backing vocals. They're just enhancing the lead vocal at the chorus. And it's not really a chorus, it's just a hook line. Which again is rare for me. This is kind of a particular form of songwriting that I don't normally engage in at all. Normally, for me, it's verse, chorus, maybe a middle section that has like either a saxophone solo or a trumpet solo or something like that, or even a guitar solo sometimes. And we do actually have a solo section in this song that kind of provides a little bit of an interlude leading up to the final verse. But this song doesn't really have a chorus. It just has this tagline.
Belonging to tomorrow, belonging to tomorrow.
Okay? My moderators may need to take care of some things being said in the chat there. And then we go up a half step.
Oh, belonging to tomorrow, belonging to tomorrow.
And I am kind of the guy that likes to embarrass myself sometimes, so this is kind of what the top part sounds like.
Long into tomorrow. Long into tomorrow.
There you go. I can sing absurdly high. So that's kind of how, in this particular case, the vocal melody came directly out of the piano vamp, and then the backing vocals are just really an enhancement of that hook line. And a lot of the time, that's not the case for my songwriting. A lot of the time, they play a much bigger role. But in this song, I really didn't feel that at all. So I now needed to provide some ear candy another way. So how was I going to do that? That's where the horn section comes in. Now, normally, my horn sections consist of a trumpet, an alto sax, a tenor sax, and maybe a baritone sax. In fact, normally, on stage, that's my horn section. Trumpet, alto sax, tenor sax, and baritone sax, and maybe a trombone discreetly tucked in there sometimes. But for the most part, it's like 4 saxes and the 1 brass, the 1 trumpet. It depends upon how much money I have at the time, and whether I can afford a trombone player, because trombonists are really expensive. So, but this is a slightly unusual horn section. It's not my normal thing. So what do we have here? Let's solo those up. So we have a muted trumpet, a flute, a flugelhorn, and a tenor sax. Now these are all virtual instruments. I would love this to have been performed by real musicians, but you know, in 2016, I had to get rid of my horn section because I couldn't afford to keep them. So I had to make do with virtual horns. Tim says, with that horn section, you starting a ska band. That's funnier than you know, Tim. I'll tell you that. So my horn section here is the ear candy that otherwise would be in the backing vocals. So I had to come up with a couple of little motifs that I could keep going throughout the song to keep the listener engaged. So let's go to the beginning of the song, and we'll back up to like a couple of bars in, and then you can listen to the first little motif here. So what we have here is a little bit of call and response. So we start with this opening little phrase here. And here's the response with a real tenor sax. Another response. And that leads into the verse. Now, the interesting thing is here, that is the only time that you get the real tenor sax. Now, you'd think, hey, maybe there's a cool arranging reason why we have the real tenor sax just the once. There isn't. There is a very practical reason why there is just that one section of real tenor sax, and it's really silly. It was a case of the guy who came in to play tenor sax for me. We basically just ran out of time. This is the last thing we did on the last day, and I wanted him to kind of play the real actual tenor parts that you can see here, but he couldn't do it in the time that we had available. So basically, this was all I got of him, and I had to fake the tenor sax part from there on. It is just kind of the way it is sometimes. So when we get to the end of the verse, we get to the chorus.
Belonging to tomorrow. Belonging to tomorrow.
So we get that little vamp here, and this comes up again a little bit later on. If I can find it. Is it here? No, is it here? Let's check. No, it's not there. Hang on. I have to try and remember where it is. Here it is. Here it is. But it's in a different key, and it's arranged very, very slightly differently here. The harmonization is a bit different. And we got this little figure that comes in here as well. So what I tend to do with horn arranging, that's all right, Mike. You did tell me that you were going to be late, so that's cool. What I tend to do with horn arranging is I tend to start small and then gradually add. It's kind of what I call additive arranging. So throughout the song, it gets a little bit busier every time. Now in this song is kind of a little bit kind of tense, and it's a little bit atmospheric. So I didn't want it to be busy rhythmically, but I wanted it to be busy harmonically, which is kind of what we have here. We have lots of harmonic tension and things going on. But we have different little figures. So have a listen to the next figure that comes in verse 2.
Soon I'll make that journey out to Paradise Falls. And on all the stifling lethargy, time will now be calm. And Christ illus the snake-eyed schmuck.
So I've got two little figures that are kind of more or less in unison here. That basically add as just a little bit of decoration to what's going on with the vocal. And then we get to the belonging to tomorrow bit, but we get some horn interjection in this chorus that we didn't have in the first verse. So this is me kind of like being additive.
Belonging to tomorrow.
Drum solo. And then we're into this Flugelhorn Solo. Now, this Flugelhorn Solo is a little bit interesting, and I'll show you why. If I can get this thing to open. Come on. No, I don't want to change the color. I want this envelope to open. There we go. So we have this wah-wah pedal thing going on here. I'm going to back up, and I'm going to put it back onto read. Why is it not going into read mode? I don't know why it's not doing it. I don't know why it's not reading that. Because it should be. That's strange. That's really weird. Why is it not going into read? Because there's, as you can see here, there's some automation here of that wah-wah pedal. So you get this nice wah-wah pedal solo. I don't know why that's not working, but it's not. But anyway, the purpose of the wah-wah pedal Flugelhorn Solo was I just wanted to do something different. I wanted a different sound that you've not heard before. And so that's kind of what I did. And then the third verse, we step it up a gear. So we're up another step in a different key. We're in D flat now.
When this wretched damn torpidity shall no more prevail, then Christ in us, bringer of woe, to the darkest darkness you will go. Belonging to tomorrow, belonging to tomorrow.
There's that figure again. Different sounding Flugelhorn Solo. And then we have a little vamp that goes behind the Flugelhorn Solo here. And it's all about keeping the listener engaged all the way through this. So the horns are kind of doing a little bit of call and response here, as well as doing this little vamp. And then we get to the very end of it, and you get the flute for the very first time. All right. And so that's pretty much the song. I think I know what's going on here. I can fix that later. It would appear the wah wah, for some reason, is on the flute. I don't know why that is. Anyway, so that's kind of how I went about arranging this song. So I hope you got something out of this. I hope it was helpful to basically just talk about how you can use backing vocals and horn sections to decorate what you have in your song to keep your listener engaged. It depends upon which genre you're working in. This kind of works in this nice kind of vaguely jazz-orientated, slightly Latin-orientated style. But, you know, if you're working in rock, then you need to be thinking about different guitar tones for different sections of the song. Different counter melodies you can have with your lead guitars, and you know those kind of things. And of course, horn sections work in a rock context as well as they do in a jazz context. You know there are some very successful bands out there that have horn sections that are rock bands. So okay, let's move over to your questions. And then that'll be us for towards the end of the show. So we've got about 25 minutes to go. The other thing to talk about, and Marcos has just reminded me here, is that so this coming Friday is the Studio One UK E-Meetup. I will see if I can find the link to it. Hang on just a minute. And I'll put that link in the chat if I can find the link to it. Let's see. Let's just open that up. Oh, damn. Didn't want to do that. I think I've just ended. Have I just ended the stream? Oh, dear. I'm making a mess of this today. Let's see. I've done something horrible. I'm not having a good day here. Let's go and open that in a new tab. That's what I wanted to do. I hope we're still streaming. I think we are. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Mike. Let's copy that. Go to live stream. So that should get you into it. Okay, you guys are still here. I'm still here. Good. Everybody should still be here. Awesome. I accidentally did not do open a new tab. And of course, when you do that, the tab you're looking at changes. And I was, of course, looking at the YouTube Studio live stream. And that always messes things up. So, motion to music to motion says, did you mention using a wah pedal to modulate the virtual horns? Yes, I did on the Flugelhorn. On the Flugelhorn Solo in the song. Let's go back over to the song. And now, for some reason, it's not working. I don't know why it's not working, but it's not. And I don't know why it is. It would appear this wah pedal is not actually attached to anything. And I think that's what's going on here. I need to connect this to the wah pedal that's on the Flugelhorn Solo. I'll do that later. But essentially, this Flugelhorn Solo here has, if I just solo this guy up, it has a wah pedal on it. And on the original print of this mix, the wah pedal did work. Now, for some reason, it's not working here. I don't know why. I have tried putting it in read mode, but it's not going into read mode. So it's probably somehow, because I basically just brought this over from Studio One 3.5. So somehow it's got disconnected. Don't know why. So there you go. So yeah, there is a wah-wah pedal that I automated. As you can see here where the little pointy finger is, I drew in some wah-wah pedal automation after I had performed this Flugelhorn solo. So I did this after the fact. And the idea, well, I actually got the idea for the wah-wah pedal whole solo thing from a trumpet player called Maz Maya, who is one of the trumpet players in Snarky Puppy, and I saw him doing it. He had like a distortion pedal and a wah-wah pedal, and he was playing his flugelhorn through this wah-wah pedal on a Snarky Puppy gig that I went to, and I just immediately loved the sound and thought, that fits this song perfectly. So I kind of borrowed that idea. Let's see. 8 p.m. UK time. It is. Yes, that's when the Studio One E-Meetup is. It's 8 p.m. UK time. So I am 6 hours ahead of the Central Time area. So if you're in if you're on the West Coast, it's going to be 8 hours, I think. And it'll be 5 hours if you're on the East Coast and you're not in the Central Time Zone area. So I think that's right. I think I've got all my time zones correct. So yeah, thank you, Tim, for being here. I appreciate it. So I kind of hope that helps. So for those of you that have never attended a Studio One meetup, basically the whole concept was originally, before the pandemic started, we had this idea that we wanted to reach out a lot more and engage a lot more with our customers. So the idea was that we wanted to, kind of talk to our customers about how they use Studio One and find out how they are using it and the styles of music that they're working in, and just basically find out what people like about it, what people don't like about it, and what people would like to see in future versions of Studio One. So that was the idea. And also to get you guys to meet together and to get to know each other and find, Studio One users in your local area. That was the idea. And then, of course, the pandemic hit and everyone started going into lockdown around the world. And so that meant that we had to change the initiative a little bit. Instead of being in-person meetings, which is how they started, I started one in Edinburgh, and I was just about to start one in Aberdeen, a little bit further up north from here. And of course, we all went into lockdown, and so that got cancelled. And then from then, we just started doing meetings online via Zoom, which is what this one is. And they have been phenomenally successful all around the world. We have Studio One meetups in several cities of the United States. We have I think we have one in the Netherlands. There's one in Germany. There's one in France. There's one in the Netherlands. There's I think there's one in Australia as well. At least one I can think of in Australia. And then of course there's the UK one here. The UK one is the one that I host with my colleague Lee Boylan, although he's not been able to make the last two or three of the meetups. So it's just been me that's been hosting them. And they are great, great fun. And I have met a whole fantastic bunch of people doing it. And most people are from the UK who come to the UK meetup, but it's not exclusive. We sometimes get people coming in from, like, I think last month we had somebody in from Texas. Which was cool. It was just really cool to just meet somebody completely random that doesn't mind kind of, being at a meetup in the middle of the day or, kind of late, in around tea time. So, so that's kind of how it works. and they last about 40, anything between 40 minutes and 2 hours. Although the Chicago one, I have heard, can last 3, 4, or more hours. It kind of depends upon you guys, what you want to do and how much you want to talk, and things that you're interested in talking about. And if you have questions about Studio One that other people may be able to answer, or I can share my screen and we can show stuff. That's the other thing that we can do. Let's see. What else we got? E Hall says, question, every time open play MIDI notes in Studio One, they seem to duplicate notes. Devices show complete control and complete control DAW. I deleted the DAW version, but it reappears on restart. Yeah, that's probably something you need to sort. You need to it's not just a case of it's something you need to delete. You probably, if it's automatically reappearing, it's probably because you have some integration software on your complete control that automatically starts up, and it's designed to talk to the DAW. So you probably want to sort that out with Native Instruments. There may well be a way in which to address that. I don't really know a whole lot about the complete control, to be honest. So yeah, you probably want to reach out to Native Instruments support about how to deal with that. Let's see. It hung up when everyone left. When he left. Oh, it hung up on everyone. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that can happen. But the idea is that those of us that are hosting it, we kind of need to give it kind of a start and an ending point, and make sure that we're the last person out, so that we can switch the lights off. So yeah. But Tim's great. So any other questions, folks? We've got about 15 minutes or so here. If you've got any specific questions about this particular song and the arrangement, then we can certainly talk about those. I'm happy to go through in a little bit more detail about this. I know Martin was asking about the guitar, and he said that he didn't recall hearing the guitar on the original chart. That's possibly because the guitar might actually be a little bit too loud. Like I said, I ported this over from Studio One 3.5, and so it's a little bit out of whack as a result, because we have redesigned some of our plugins, and they've all had a good overhaul, and so they all sound a little bit different than they did before. So, and I think it's probably a case of there's an amp sim on here, there's Ampire, and there's probably a preset that doesn't work. Yeah, that's exactly the issue there. There's a preset that doesn't work on that, and that's why it sounds a little bit louder. That's fine, we can pull that back a little bit. But yeah, that's probably what that was all about. Music Motion says the rest of the meetings, a second or new moderator was assigned and allowed those of us who are into conversation to continue. Okay, cool. Mike says, I upgraded back to Persona Sphere for collaboration purposes today. Am I going to get any surprises with Studio One version 5? Well, you did have kind of Studio One version 5 before, as I recall, because I think, were you on Persona Sphere before? I can't remember. And then you kind of cancelled it because you had issues. I can't remember the exact situation precisely there, Mike. But so far, we're on 5.1.2 now, so there's a lot of stuff that's been fixed since 5.0 back last July, and there's been some new stuff added as well. So I suggest that when you first load up Studio One, Mike, and you're in the start page, go to Help, About Studio, where is it? Help, and go down to View Release Notes and take a look at the release notes for the updates that have happened since 5.0, and then you can see what's been fixed, what's been added, and then you can start working on stuff at that point. Ken says, quick lesson on arranging horn section, typically thirds, chord tones, or is it anything unique for horns? Okay, yeah, I'll do a very, very, very quick brief overview of what I did for the horns here. Let's close the mixer because we don't need the mixer. I said let's close the mixer because we don't need the mixer. There we go. For me, it's mostly unison, and for this, because it was mode-based, I was avoiding things like thirds. Because, you know, major thirds give you, you know, they give you too much of a kind of major-minor thing. Unless, of course, you're going to stack some fourths underneath it, in which case you get that nice kind of, you know, that you get that nice, that kind of nice Miles Davis so what kind of thing going on. Which is kind of, you know, because you've got the fourths underneath the chord, it kind of sounds, it doesn't sound major anymore, even though you've got a G major triad on the top, going down to an F major triad. It's because you've got that fourth underneath it. Suddenly it doesn't sound quite so major anymore. It sounds much more open. Don't know why that is, but it just is the way it is, especially if you've got like a G vamp, you know. Don't know why that is, but that's just the way it is. So I was trying astutely to avoid fourths. Avoid thirds. Anything that kind of had a major or minor connotation, I was trying to avoid it. So if I solo up my horn section here, including the tenor sax obbligato a little bit as well. So there's quite a dissonance to start with between the muted trumpet and the flute. And you know, so we're kind of using the notes from the Mixolydian mode, really, and we're deliberately avoiding those, you know, those sense of major thirds. I'm kind of like trying to avoid those and, you know, kind of make kind of sounds that are kind of a little bit dissonant, but they're kind of fairly mild spice. Not too harsh. And then if we go to this other one here in the vamp here, we've got some unison there. And we've got basically just fourths and fifths there. And then this next little section here. Kind of a little bit untidily played. And that's all unison. Again, kind of going for kind of a more kind of oblique kind of sound. And then we get to this little section here, if I can get up to it. Which is kind of like a little bit kind of more 13th suspended fourth kind of chords. If I put in the Rhodes and the piano. And maybe you'll stick the bass in there as well. Now we're back into this kind of vamp at the beginning. And again, we're just kind of harmonically, we're just trying to avoid anything that sounds major or minor. We're going for a kind of open sound. So I hope that kind of answers your question. And then here, kind of unison here. Let's put that without the bass and the Rhodes and the piano. All right, so hope that helps. There you go. So Ken, I hope that kind of helps answer that. Let's see. Trying to catch up with what Mike was saying. I'm just very wary after some of the issues I had with billing and my computer in general. And no, I'm not blaming version 5, but the problem started after I joined PresonaSphere in July. Yeah, initially we had some issues with billing, and particularly how that's all done. That's kind of, we had some issues with that to start with, but for the most part, all of those kind of issues are all kind of dealt with now. Some folks that are paying for PresonaSphere using PayPal might occasionally encounter an issue where PayPal doesn't respond to the request from our billing server soon enough. And that's not an issue with us or the server that we use for billing. That's actually an issue with PayPal specifically. But they are aware of it and they are working on addressing that. But for the most part, all billing stuff is all sorted out now. You just got to make sure that if you are going for a monthly payment plan, make sure in your account, under your plans section, make sure that you check the box. I think it's a checkbox still, to set it to auto renew, so that when you get to the end of your month, the bill is all automatically sorted and it's automatically renewed every month. Or if you're doing it for a year, likewise, you might decide at the end of that year that you don't want to renew it, in which case, don't set it to auto renew. But certainly for monthly folks, I think if you decide after a couple of weeks that you're into this and you want to stay with it, make sure during that period to check it to auto renew, and you should be fine after that. Ken says, I had billing issues also, but the support folks fixed it. Yeah, we did. Let's see. Gannon asks, what sound set are the horns from? Okay, I can show you that. They are all from Presence, actually. So here we go. They're all in Presence. I've got several instances of Presence running. There's the Harman trumpet, the muted trumpet with the vibrato. And then we got the flute here, concert flute. And we got a flugelhorn here, another tenor sax. Then we got the solo flute at the top there. And there's the other flugelhorn. And there's the wah-wah one. Or at least it's supposed to be. I need to fix that. I don't know what the heck is going on there. But yeah, they're all from Presence. And they're all straight from what is available for free in Presence. There's nothing here brought in from something like Persona Symphonic Orchestra. So I hope that helps answer that one. Marcos says, if I buy Studio One version 1, 2, and 3 and register it, it works, or brings me to the 5th version. If you buy Studio One from shop.presonus.com or from an authorized dealer, you will get Studio One 5, because the other versions are not sold anymore. Yeah, so you'll just get Studio One 5. You don't have to progressively upgrade to Studio One 5. You will just get that if you currently do not have Studio One in or you don't have a My Presonus account and you're just kind of looking into Studio One, then yeah, you will go straight to Studio One 5. However, if you have version 1, 2, 3, or 4, there is an upgrade path in shop.presonus.com that will allow you to upgrade and purchase an upgrade license that will take you to Studio One 5. And there's it's a fairly straightforward way in which you upgrade. You basically purchase the license key. When you get that license key, you go into your account and you go to software and you go to products and you go to your previous version. So if, let's say you're on Studio One 3 and you want to go up to Studio One 5, let's say it's Studio One 3 Artist and you want to go up to Studio One 5 because you want to take advantage of the fact that now support for VSTE, AU and Rewire is all natively supported in Studio One 5 now. You want to take advantage of that. So you upgrade. So you purchase the Studio One upgrade to Studio One 5 Artist. When you get your product key, you go into your account, you go to software, you go to My Products, you go to software, and then you click on Studio One 3. And then when the Studio One 3 product page opens up, where your current license is, there's a button underneath that that says Upgrade. If you click on that, a dialog box opens up, and then you copy paste your new product key into that box, and then you click OK. And then what that does is that applies the upgrade to your Studio One 3 license, and it stamps it as upgraded. And then you should, if you click the Refresh Products button, you should see your Studio One 5 Artist license appear. And then you just click on that, and then you download the installer for that. And you run that, and then you activate it as you would normally activate. You launch Studio One 5, then you go Studio One activation, and then you click the little down arrow. If I show you actually this little bit, I can show you this bit. So you go, if you're a Windows guy or girl, you go to Studio One, you go Studio One Options. You don't go to Studio One Options at all. You go to Studio One, you go Studio One Activation, and then you click this one here, activate my purchase version of Studio One, then you click this guy over here. I'm not going to click it because it will show all of my Studio One licenses. Don't want to do that. But you click this little guy here, and you go show my existing product keys, and it will show a list of all your existing product keys that are available in your account. You select Studio One 5 Artist, or if it's Studio One 5 Professional that you bought, you select that. But what you'll get is you'll get a little box that says, I purchased an upgrade. Don't check that box. Leave it alone, and then just click Activate, and you'll be good to go. If you check that box, what you'll find is you'll find yourself caught in a loop. The reason why that box is there is because there are certain occasions, certain circumstances where if you purchased from a dealer, for example, it gives you the opportunity to register and activate at the same time from inside Studio One. You don't have to do that in your My Presonus account. But the thing is, if you purchase it directly from shop.presonus.com, the license gets automatically registered in your account. Whereas if you do it from a third-party dealer, that doesn't happen. You actually have to do the registration bit. So that's why that box is there. It's confusing. A lot of people don't get it. A lot of people check that box and they end up in a world of trouble. Then they contact us in technical support, and we have to sort that out, which is not a problem. But it's just quicker if you just don't check that box at all. All right, so there you go. Marco says, it's because I was thinking about buying from another person that doesn't want Studio One and his or her version is 3 or 2. And if I buy it, I register it because my laptop can't run the 5th one right now. What you can do in that situation is your friend, whoever that is, this is really important, Marcos. You have to do this correctly, otherwise it will not work. And you'll end up paying out money to this individual and get nothing. So here's what you need to do. What you need to do is the person that you are buying it from, the private person you are buying it from, they need to pay a transfer fee to Presonus via their Presonus account, and they need to transfer that license to your account. And there is a $25 transfer fee for that to happen. If you just try and install, you try and take their product key. If let's say they say, here's my product key, you just go ahead and try and install it on your computer. It won't work. It'll never be registered as you, and it'll be registered as your friend who you're buying it off. And therefore it will never be your product. And that actually is a violation of the end user license agreement that your friend will have agreed to when they registered the license in the first place. So you have to do it right. They have to pay that $25 transfer fee, and then we take care of the transfer, and then it should show up in your account. And then it will be yours. Then you can register it, and you can do whatever you want with it at that point. Just bear in mind that from a technical support point of view, version 1, version 2, and version 3 are no longer supported since the launches of versions 4 and 5. So anything below version 4 is no longer supported. So if you run into a problem, you won't get any technical support unless you have version 4 or version 5. So just bear those things in mind, okay? They're really important you get those right. All right, I think we're done, and I will, I'll call it a night there. Apologies for my mic issue at the start of the show and the other technical things that have gone awry. But other than that, if you are interested in the UK Studio One Meetup, if you're from the UK or you're from nearby to the UK, then certainly follow that link and sign up and get yourselves here on Friday night. I'm looking forward to it. We had like 24 or 25 people last time, so it'd be great if we could have, similar. All right, folks, with that, I'm going to say a very good night. And I'll see you on Wednesday over on Jonny Garbe's YouTube channel for Songwriting Simplified. Until then, good night. Thank you, Music to Motion, for the donation. Appreciate it.
That journey
Very kind.
out to Paradise Falls. I know all the stifling lethargy. Time will now be called. The placidus, the snake-eyed schmo. Take a hand down, you will go. Belonging to tomorrow. Belonging to tomorrow. Oh
Yeah, I did it by hand that time, Ken.
When this wretched damn torpidity shall no more prevail, then craftiness, bringer of woe, to the darkest darkness you will go, belonging to tomorrow, belonging to tomorrow.
To answer your question, Music to Motion, yes, I did play drums on this. This is the only track on the entire EP that I actually personally played drums. Otherwise, I had my drummer of like 30 years called Dave Lightly, who played on the record, but I played on this one. Anyway, good night.